How do you define success? What does success mean to you? And one of the things that we as coaches and trainers here at Blue Collar really pride ourselves on is that we don't have a predetermined definition of success. This can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And so as you're listening to this today, I want you to think about, what does success really look like? And that could mean different things for different roles in the organization. It might mean, growing my service department or my call taking team. Maybe I'm a general manager or an owner, and so for me, it might mean something on the company level, company growth, personal growth, whatever that means to you. Not here to give you that definition today. What I am here to do is to hopefully give you some tools and some strategy around how to go get it, how to go achieve it. I think that at this time of the year, as we wind down the year, we get to the tail end of December, and we we start to think about 2025. We it's kind of the season for New Year's resolutions, for goal setting, for all of those kinds of activities. And I want to just take a second and pause here and think about, is the destination the most important part of what we do, or is the journey more important? And so just allow that question to kind of run in the background as we go through today's training, and maybe answer that question for yourself as to which is more important. See, the reality is, when we talk about destinations, we talk about results, we're really just talking about outcomes, right? And there's only two types of outcomes that we can ever achieve. And the first type is a planned outcome. For some of you, you were recently in Tampa with us as we went through our budgeting and planning workshop, where we built out the game plan, the budget for 2025. And so maybe the outcome is delivering that budget, hitting the mark. Maybe it's a certain amount of trucks that we need on the road, a certain amount of calls we need into our call center. Maybe it's some performance metrics, conversion rate, average ticket, things like that. And so those all are examples of a planned outcome. But we also have the second type, which is an unplanned outcome. And sometimes we look at those as failures. We look at those as losses. The reality is that the outcomes and the results are very rarely in our direct control. We can certainly influence the results. We can have good people. We can have good processes in place. We can hold people accountable. We can do all those management type of activities, but the end result is still not in our control. We can set ourselves up for success, but that's really about as far as we can go. And so I want to offer to you a different way of thinking about your results, your outcomes. When I hit a planned outcome, that means that whatever plan I put in place, whatever process I followed to get there, achieved the result. And so that's very easy to categorize that as a win, right? We hit the mark. We can feel good about that. What about when we miss the mark? We don't have to feel bad about it, especially if you reframe that as, I'm either winning or I'm learning. Because was it an issue with the plan? Was it an issue in the execution? Where did that outcome fall short? Because those are the lessons where, if we allow them to be, they can be learning moments for us. We tie, especially as managers, we tie so much of our, let's just call it our happiness. We tie so much of our happiness to our results. We say, if I hit this revenue number, if I get this objective completed, then I'm going to feel good about it. And I know myself, just on a personal level, I know that I fall into that trap at times as well, where if I feel like I'm not hitting the mark, it impacts my level of happiness. There was actually a book put out some years ago that I recently read. It's called The Happiness Advantage. And if you're taking notes, that might be something to jot down. If you're a reader, I'm sure it's available on audiobook and those kind of things. It's called The Happiness Advantage. And there's a few principles that I borrowed from that book that I wanted to talk about with each of you today. Number one, positive leadership, happy leadership would be another way to put that, has a ripple effect. If we are happy in our operation, the people around us will be happier in their operations as well. Happiness is a competitive advantage. When we talk about things like company culture, if it feels good to work in the organization, that might be the difference between me being able to recruit and not being able to recruit, right? One of the keys to recruiting and retention that we teach very often is being the place to be. And I don't know about you, I like to work in an environment that's a happy, positive environment. And as managers, as leaders today, that's probably within our influence.